What's your top wow, that actually worked moment? Got a free watch offer from a decent company I'd bought from before. But you had to spend over $300. I added 4 of the free watches, which were usually $75, into the cart, which registered as $300. I went to checkout and a green $300 appears in the bill. Added my shipping address and 2 weeks later they came. After hours of trying to repair a broken digital camera, I went to throw it away. I shrugged and dropped it on the linoleum. Heard a horrible crack. The motor turned on, making a jackhammer sound before it clicked and became a smooth hum. The camera worked after that. The first time my wife and I went out to eat with our new baby, he was sitting in a baby seat next to the table, and he started crying. I picked up a salt shaker and set it right in front of him, and said, "Watch this," and he looked at the salt and stopped crying. The entire grade went on a field trip to a bowling/arcade place to celebrate completing middle school. I was at a claw machine, not sure exactly what it's called. I'm talking about the machine where you direct a claw and try to grab a toy with it, and I asked my friend to look at the claw from the side to see if it was lined up with the toy I wanted. Just then, a boy from another class walked up and said to me, "You know that those are a scam, right?" I was flustered and hit the button to lower the claw without even waiting for my friend to tell me if it was lined up properly. The claw came back up with 2 toys and dropped them in the collection box. The boy was silent for a moment before saying that was actually pretty good and walking away. I'll never be so cool again in my entire life. I was a network engineer for an ISP at the time, and I had to get to a mountaintop where one of our towers were located to perform some maintenance. Had to ride a snowmobile all the way up there. And when I got there I realized I forgot the keys to the enclosure. Not to be defeated, I tried to pick the lock, and I got it to open after about 20 minutes of trying. Yay! I didn't have to quit for the day and got the work done. I was flying somewhere. After everyone else was boarded, I went up to the gate agent and asked about being upgraded to first class. After a bunch of typing on her computer, she said sure and asked how I would like to pay for it. I said by asking nicely. To my amazement, she gave me a boarding pass for my new first class seat. I'm a straight dude with a lot of gay friends. One of them jokingly refers to me as King of the Gays. I was visiting some friends in another city a few weeks ago and we tried to go into a gay bar. But the doorman tells me there's a cover charge. I, being drunk, blurted out, "But I am King of the Gays," and he laughed and let me in. My sister and I went to a show a while after she'd been going through some really rough times. I wrote the band a letter about her and asked one of their merch guys if he could deliver it to them, hoping they could just give her a shout out during the set or something. About 20 minutes later I got a phone call from the band's manager saying to go to the side of the stage between the opener and the headliner. And we got to watch the whole show from the side of the stage, and they gave us a VIP meet and greet pass. The bassist came up and we learned that he was the one who pushed for us to get what we got. He was so nice about everything. And he gave my sister a hug and posed for a photo with her. Told this girl in 2nd grade I was a psychic just to troll, and she didn't believe me. Of course. So she asked me to predict something. I said, "You're going to scream right now," and as she was saying, "That's dumb. Why would I?" A kindergartner playing tag randomly fell and rolled back into her legs and she screamed. She was really scared of me after that. LOL. Noticed an error on our website that would affect customers. Emailed the web team about it, thinking they'd ignore it until someone higher up brought it to their attention. They read it, implemented changes, and CC'd my director to thank me for the input. Fans on my old MacBook had stopped working. Searched on YouTube for a fix and found a video that said sometimes there can be lint/dust/etc. clogging up the spinny mechanisms. A good thumping can get them back in order. The guy in the video proceeded to hammer the computer with his fists and the fans came back on. I shrugged, gave it a shot, and to my surprise, they hummed back to life and I was back in business. Still can't believe it. Went to check into a hotel, and I asked him if there was a parking fee. He replied with yes. It's $15 a night. I asked, any chance you could waive it? He replied with, yeah, sure. I was like, okay. Thanks LOL. Save me $60. This was a very long time ago. I needed ACN to graduate and didn't attend the final. So I went in and just told him I want AB to graduate, hoping he would let me retake it or at least negotiate to the point where I could make it AC+. So he tells me, sure. Have a great summer. The first time I hit on a girl, we ended up sleeping together that night, and the whole time I was thinking, wow, that actually worked. The brakes on my crappy SUV went completely out one day. So instead of paying for a tow truck, my dad decided to connect my car to his pickup truck with a big chain, my car in front, dad in back, and have me drive to the mechanic shop. My car could still accelerate just fine. Just no brakes whatsoever. So we called each other on our cell phones, and every time I needed to slow down or stop, I'd just tell him and he'd hit the brakes on the pickup, which would either slow my car or yank it stopped if he did it too abruptly. It was completely stupid, illegal, and definitely dangerous, but we got there just fine and didn't have to drop $100 on a tow truck, so it worked. I was on a first date. Normally, I never go beyond making out on a first date, but that day I was feeling bold, so I decided to ask her if she wanted to come over and meet my roommate's dog. Yep, that worked. I tried that line on a few more girls and it also worked. Went to a dirt track race in the middle of Illinois. My friend went to buy his own tickets. I walked up the front gate and pulled out a Missouri Conservation Heritage card I bought for $2 to renew my turkey hunting tags. I walked up the front gate, drunk mind you, and said in a friendly but stern and confident voice, "Sir, this is my Missouri Conservation Heritage card." Gestured to the gate and followed up with, "I think this should be fine enough." He goes, "Missouri Conser what?" Even more stern, "Missouri Department of Conservation Heritage card." Sir, it says right here." He just goes, "Oh right. Department Missouri, yes, right away, go on through." I said thanks and walked in. I think the confidence I showed, as if my card meant anything, let alone in another state, was enough for him to go, "Who cares, they'll just let him in." I saved like $7, but it was a fun story when my buddy asked how I got in before him. Had a then friend whose behavior was kind of sketchy and suspicious. All kinds of red flags with this guy, but no real proof of his sociopath nature. Just several suspicions. So one day I checked up on one of his stories. He'd have brand new vehicles for a while. Then they'd mysteriously vanish. He claimed to be rich, from mafia money, and he just got tired of that new Corvette or motorcycle or whatever. So I called the dealership where his last expensive car had been purchased and pretended to be a private detective, working on behalf of a rich client, who was thinking of doing business with my then friend. Just checking out his reliability. I told the guy, "We see he bought a Corvette." The guy told me everything about how my friend put some short money down on the car, then failed to make even a single payment afterwards, and successfully evaded the repo man for months until they finally caught up to him. I couldn't get away with it today, with everyone suspicious of phishing/social engineering. Back then people were more naive and would spill the beans easily if you sounded legit on the phone. I bought a house with a kitchen that hasn't been updated since the 60s, mostly because I love the light brown oven. Shortly after moving in, the oven stopped working correctly. We couldn't find anybody to repair it, so we found the elements at a scrapyard and replaced them. It still didn't work. We were about to have it replaced when I begged for one more chance. The oven had a clock on it and a time bake function, so you could set your oven to bake something at a specific time. The clock was broken when we bought the house. I decided to try cooking something on the time bake setting instead of regular bake. It turns out that the dial had been put back on at the wrong angle. So time bake equals regular bake. I've been using the oven for maybe 3 or 4 years now, and it's not perfect, but it gets the job done.